today's video, man, I got a special video to share with you guys. It's actually a very personal video that I'm gonna be sharing with you, and this has to do with, working a 9 to 5, right? So today I'm actually gonna be showing you, my last day. I've worked in the professional suit and tie, 9 to 5 type of job for the better part of the last 12 to 13 years. Right now at 33, I've worked the majority of my life since I was 15 years old. 33 minus 15, what's that? Not 18 years, right? So I went the whole, get a college education, work hard, work up in these companies. And, I started out my first professional job, when I was wearing a suit and tie job was, I was working down in Bethesda. For those of you familiar with the DC area, that's one of the business districts. And I remember, the first time I was probably about 19 years old. I got an internship at a nonprofit lender called Calvert Social Investment Foundation. You guys could Google it. Nonprofit lender, and it was very exciting for me at the time. 19 years old, you get to ride on the train with the business crowd. You get to put on your suit and tie, just look real professional. And I thought wearing a shirt and tie and going into a building and sitting down on a computer and having meetings, I thought that was having it made, right? Having a cushy office 9 to 5 job. And there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5, don't get me wrong. Basically what I'm saying is that over time, my perspective on the 9 to 5 has changed, right? I used to think, okay, in order for me to make more money, I'm just gonna try to get a job that pays higher, or I'm gonna find another job to work on the side, part-time, overnight. So I've worked overnight jobs. I've worked all types of different jobs, not just professional types of jobs. I've worked blue collar types of jobs. I did junk hauling, $10 an hour, driving around in the truck, doing very manual labor type of work. And so I've had a wide range of experiences, but what I realize is that it's only so much time that you have to exchange for money. Working a job for a paycheck, working a job for money, it's not scalable at the end of it because you are capped at how much you can make. Now, one of the main reasons why, I've decided to resign from my position, and this is a 6-figure paying job, a pretty good job by most standards, paying 6 figures per year, being able to work from home, having some of the benefits, professional development, training courses. So don't get me wrong, it's definitely an opportunity. But one of the things that I would say is the reason why I've decided to move on is because of the opportunity cost. It's because we live in a new generation. There's a new time. We're living the information age. So in the information age, you can exchange less time and make more money. So then, you basically able to reclaim some of your life, right? Reclaim some of your time. So when I'm working this 9 to 5 job, as you can see, like I'm on the highway right now, right? And this is the middle of the day. So not even, early morning traffic or anything like that. And my commutes used to be 2 hours every morning, 2 hours, sometimes even 2.5 hours in the evening to get back and forth from work. So when you factor it in, I'm really working about 12 to 13 hours a day. These jobs consume a lot of your time, and time is one of the most important things that we have, time and information. The whole thing around 9 to 5s, what that's really centered around is the Industrial Revolution, where the factory hours were from 9 to 5. And that's really how our society has evolved over hundreds of years to really structure everything around a 9 to 5, around a job. And really, that really puts the power in the hands of large corporations because they're commanding so much of your time, right? And so I realized that, my time became more valuable when, I'm able to make more money, have a better quality of life, get some of my time back, time wasted getting ready for work, time wasted getting ready in the morning, driving to the office. By the time you get to the office, you're already kind of tired because, you're going through this battle just to get through traffic. Getting through traffic was stressful here in the DMV area. So I realized that, the job just didn't make any sense anymore. And since we're in the information age, I've been able to apply information to the point where I can make more money through businesses and other platforms than I can through working a job. And so if I were still working a job, the job would basically be an opportunity cost, right? I'm actually will be making less money going into a six-figure yearly job. Like I said, working a job is good because you can gain experience, you can gain skill sets. Some of the smartest people in the world work jobs, work for these corporations. And a lot of these companies, they need smart, capable people to be able to run their company. That's why these companies have the advantage. It's not that, this company is such a big company, it has so much money. No, the biggest asset to these companies are actual human assets, smart people who know how to program, people who know how to code, people who know how to manage. That's basically what these companies are doing. They're giving you this paycheck so that you can, provide value to them. Because think, whatever they're paying you, whatever a company is paying you, they have to get more back out of you than what they're paying you. You get what I'm saying? So the companies, they're making profit from your labor. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense, from a business standpoint, if they're paying you a certain amount and you're not bringing that value back on the back end. But anyways, yeah, so we're on this commute. Like I said, I'm going into the office. I'm turning in my equipment, my laptop, everything. So I've been working jobs since I was 15 years old, right? 15 years old to 33. So that's 18 years. And, I've reached the point where for me to even want to go higher in a company, it's going to require more time commitment from me, which I'm unwilling to give because, like I said, I've found ways to get the most out of my own time and have a better quality of life. Like, I know a lot of people work jobs, dead-end jobs. I've worked dead-end jobs before, and it's not a good feeling. Like, when you're dreading going into work, that's when you know it's time to move on. Like, when you have that gut feeling, like going into Sunday night and you just know, oh man, I'm not looking forward to the next day, to Monday. When you start to dread that, and when you have these, when you start to have these like toxic relationships with your coworkers, right? If it's affecting your mental health, then it's time to find something else that might be less stressful. And the best way to really do that is to empower yourself so that you can earn yourself. You don't have to depend on someone else for, income, but that's a whole nother video. I'm not going to get into all of that on this video, but I just wanted to share this experience. I know right now, a lot of companies are struggling with, finding talent, retaining talent. And what this really is, in my opinion, is just another economic transformation, an economic revolution where entrepreneurship, self-sufficiency, being able to create your own lane. There's never been a time ever in the history to become a business owner, to start, creating yourself, because all the tools are out there. All the tools that you need to be successful are out there. So there's no excuses anymore. Of course, I'm not telling people to go quit your job after watching this video. It actually took me years and years of working. Like I said, I worked in the corporate world for 13 years, saving money over the years, getting businesses off the ground, getting an emergency fund, investing, things like that. So it's not, I'm leaving from a standpoint of survival or anything like that. Another thing that was hard to get over was this status quo of going to 9 to 5, going to college, getting a job, and then working until you retire. And that's still the prevailing sentiment or, ideology when it comes to, work and, generating a way of life, a way of living. And I think now, people are starting to get hip to other ways to make a living. When I was coming up, go to college, take out these student loans, go get a job, work your job for 40 years, get your 401k. But what I started to realize is that didn't really work for me, right? Because I'm working these jobs, I'm like, damn, okay, I'm working all these jobs. And then I remember at one point, this was, I would say, probably 6 or 7 years ago. At this particular moment, I had $0 in my bank account and I was working 2 jobs. And, and I'm talking about office suit and tie job. You'll see, we're on our way to Arlington, And I was just like, wow, like this is what was like kind of pitched, like, oh, the suit and tie job is the life, going into an office, carrying your briefcase to work. That's really making it. That's what I thought, at least. I got my degree, I got my job, it has benefits, it's giving me a paycheck. But then, I'm still finding myself, not being able to financially do some of the things that I want. And then I just realized at that moment, it dawned on me that this really isn't the way. If you want to have financial success, working a job just isn't going to get you there. Not today. It may have worked for our grandparents. It may have even worked for our parents, but in today's day and age, it's very rare to find, single house home earners, right? A lot of women have to work. Both people have to work to make ends meet. And this whole idea of a job, yes, it worked in the 1950s and the 60s. Getting a degree meant something in the 70s and 80s, right? But today, it's not so much the case. And I'm not saying that college is a bad thing, because I actually learned a lot. It exposed me to a lot of different avenues, even in finance and credit. So I'm not downplaying, getting experience working for companies and things like that. That's cool. Nothing wrong with working a job. But when you're working these jobs, just think, okay, there's a lot of skills that you pick up working jobs, right? So think about it. Okay, what's the skill set that this job is requiring? And make sure, you master that, so that wherever you may go afterwards, you have that skill set, so you can apply it and profit from it in the same way as the companies that hire you to do that, whatever task or activity. So that's what I would say. Working these jobs, really think about stacking up your skills, stacking up your experience, networking. But the whole model of working 9 to 5 until you retire at 65, I just think that's very unrealistic in today's society. You got the cost of living increasing very fast. So it's no guarantee that what worked for previous generations is going to work in today's generation. So just keep that in mind. What your parents may have told you worked for them, it may not work for us. So that's one thing you all always have to keep learning, never stop learning. We're heading into Arlington, Virginia. This is where I worked for a Fortune 500 company, actually. They're actually on the S&P 500. There's another thing I wanted to talk about as well. Let's talk about job security, right? So over the past, 13 years, I've worked in different types of jobs throughout college. I would say mostly tied to the federal government, finance, management consulting. I've probably had, out of those 13 years, I've probably had about maybe 7 different office types of jobs, where I was on salary, XYZ. So I'm gonna tell you the first job I had coming out of undergrad, it was an internship. I was doing statistical programming. So I did what's called SAS programming, MATLAB, SPSS, working with databases and data analytics and statistics and stuff like that. Great experience. So I was working that job for about 2 years. Then there was a sequester, right? Government sequester. Funding got cut. My position was the one position out of this. It was a small contractor. Everyone else kept their jobs except for me. Now I talked to the owner of the company, right? Now the reason, and I understood it too. I was young. I was the youngest person working for the company. A lot of other people were older people, right? So the owner had to make a tough decision on who to let go. Now, the reason why he let me go, he told me this, is because he said, you're young, you still have opportunity. It's going to be easy for you to land on your feet and transition, more so than older people who've been working. It's going to be harder for them to find a job. And I understood that, so, I had no problem with it. But so next position I have, similar research organization. So they got their budget cut, right? Laid off their entire staff, because their hiring spree when I got hired was all contingent on this contract. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the contract, but they wound up having to lay off everyone. They told us about this in advance, so I was able to move on to another job. I was interviewing and stuff like that. Next job I worked for about 4 years, and I was commuting into Washington, D.C. 4 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week. They let us do 2 days remote. Great experience in terms of networking. So this job I actually got fired from. And the reason I got fired was, it was a disagreement with one of the managers, right? And they decided to lay me off. They more or less wanted me to be more of like the company man. They would ask me to go out to lunch. I wouldn't go out to lunch. I didn't have that, because I'm coming there like to do a job. I'm not coming there to make friends. And I guess, there was just a clash with the work culture there, and I was laid off. But it was actually one of the best things to happen. And the owner of the company, cool guy, like I'm still, no hard feelings, what I'm saying, for him. He's trying to run an $11 million business. So it's we had the same approach. So it's like, I come here to do a job and get paid, and that's it. So he basically told me, he said, when you get too comfortable, because I'm here for 4 years. And like I said, this is, my cushy, this is where I worked hard, going to college to land this type of job, right down off of K Street and 11th, the happy hours, the lunches, the conferences, very nice, corporate position, company computer and everything, work from home, whatever. The owner told me, never get too comfortable, right? The minute you're not comfortable or you don't step outside your comfort zone is when you become stagnant. So he told me always to be outside my comfort zone. And he was like, yeah, like, you've done great work for us here, but you also got comfortable being here, right? And he was totally right. But at the time, I'm like, damn, like this, what I'm saying? Like, what am I gonna do? I just got laid off. Next job I go to, I'm working there for about 1.5 years, and this company, small company, they were basically saying how their business is booming, their company's healthy. One day we go into work and half the staff gets laid off, right? Half the staff gets laid off, and I was actually spared this time, so I didn't lose my job. But the unsettling thing was, at that job I got close with some of the coworkers, and one was a middle-aged woman. She had children in middle school and high school. She was actually more qualified, more experienced, more credentials than I did. We do the exact same work, but she was a little bit more seasoned than me. She got laid off. Someone with another staff member with a PhD got laid off. So I'm like, damn, these people are making more money than me. They're more experienced than me. They're getting laid off, and I'm not getting laid off. So what's the catch? And then I realized it, right? At the time, I'm unmarried, no children. I would work late, right? Some of these other, women who worked there, they couldn't work late because they had a family. They had to be out the office at 9 to 5. So like the company knew they couldn't ask them to stay over late. Some nights I would leave the office at 9 p.m., 4 hours after, just to make sure a deliverable gets completed, right? So they knew, okay, I'm the young workhorse. They can grind me out. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the reason why they spared me, and they're paying me at a lower rate. So anyways, long story short, it was unsettling for me. So what I decided to do was, I didn't want to walk in and have that same thing happen to me. And even though it didn't happen to me, it was like one of the most unsettling feelings. You're at a cubicle, and our cubicles have like the little metal drawer. So when you close it, it just makes the sound like, like a door shutting, but it's like a metal, like clangy sound. And so just hearing that, like multiple people, 6, 7 people clearing out their desk. And, the day before everyone's laughing over lunch, talking about work. The next day, these people don't even have a job. How are they going to feed their family? So it was at that point, that's when I started. I was like, listen, I'm not going to just wait around. I started my YouTube channel. I already had another business a couple years before that. I don't want to, be at the mercy of one of these companies, just, because they could just lay you off, replace you, whatever the case may be. So you really got to, try to control what you can control. And, I don't want someone else controlling how much I can eat, how much money I can have. They're dictating, your quality of life, or you're enabling them to dictate your quality of life by working for these different companies. Now, again, I'm not bashing working a job. All I'm saying is that, you want to be financially independent and it's hard to do that when you have a job that's commanding so much of your time. So here we are, we've been talking for, about 40 minutes now. And as you can see, even during the middle of the day, driving into this city, there was traffic. Get this view right here. You see, we coming up here, you see the high rises in the distance and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that really used to motivate me coming into work every day, like going into these offices, and that's what I thought was when you made it. But after doing it for 13 years, and you realize, you aren't where you thought you would be. You don't have the millions that you thought you would have working these jobs. And you know what I'm saying? The big house out in the suburbs, like, yeah, I did get those things, but it wasn't from working a job. It was for things outside of working, so. But yeah, this is what my commute used to look like. This is Arlington, Virginia. You guys can Google it. It's a huge business district, Fortune 500 companies. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of money down here. There's a lot of money down here. Look at, these office buildings. There's a lot of money. You see? Got the Porsche right here. So people getting money out here, but there's a trade-off with that. Because if you want to make $250,000 with these companies, you're going to be missing your kids' soccer games to get work done, or missing date night with your significant other because you got to work on this project. Don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with working hard, but I want to work hard for myself. I don't want to give up my time for dollars for the betterment of these, companies. And that's just where I stand right now. So yeah, we're about to pull up in here and hand this equipment in, and yeah, that'll be the final chapter in that. But just to kind of close it out, like I said, nothing wrong with the job. Definitely focus on stacking up your skills wherever you may be, learning how the business where you work at, learning how that runs, what systems are they using, what software. There's a lot out here for you to take advantage of. So yeah, we're heading in the garage right now.
The motherfucking W and shit. You see?
Should have seen this coming.
These y'all gonna have the theme music in the background and shit.
Bro, their office is sweet.
Nice, man. They gonna be like, yo, he left this job?
Yeah, I need to go to the equipment help desk.
Okay, you have your badge and yeah. Does it work right here on the door?
Well, I haven't been here in a while. The window used to be where they were.
Your badge is in there. When was the last time you came in?
Before the pandemic.
Alright, you have a badge too?
So I'm just the cameraman.
Here, you can stay out here.
Yeah, that's cool.